welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie and I'll be your astrologer today. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Back at it with another video. We're going to be taking a look at this up and coming Sun-Jupiter conjunction in the sign of Taurus. This will be the astro weather for the week of May 12th through the 19th, 2024. If you guys like my content, you want to see more of it, click the bell button down below, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned because we are here every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, letting you know what's going on in the cosmos. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Leave me a comment below, especially if you are a first-time viewer, and let me know where you're tuning in from and where this conjunction is taking place in your chart. I just want to remind everybody also that we do have May 2024 horoscopes. I do touch on all of these conjunctions for the 12 rising signs. But if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I will be telling you where the Sun-Jupiter conjunction is taking place for each and every one of the 12 rising signs and where you're going to gain a little bit of luck this week. All right, well, to be honest with you guys, this is an action-packed week. We've got so much stuff going on. There are so many different aspects to tackle. And the themes this week are going to feel larger than life. Everything's going to feel bigger. It's going to feel magnified because we are seeing conjunctions to Jupiter, but also to Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Now, we start off this week with seeing that Mercury leaves shadow. Thank goddess, no more communication issues. That post-shadow has been pretty gnarly, just as gnarly as the Mercury retrograde itself. But thankfully, we're going to see Mercury move into the sign of Taurus this week. So if you happen to be a Gemini or a Virgo rising, your chart ruler is on the move. And equally Taurus, you're about to receive a Mercury transit. So lots of communication and back and forth. Taurus is a fixed earth sign, so communication becomes a little bit more rigid. We can find that communication is also about resources, values, money, and communication slows down in a good way, not in a Mercury retrograde way, but in a way where we're really able to think more practically when it comes to everything, really. But why is it magnified this week? Well, there's some really big cycles that are going to be beginning. So we're going to see planets coming into conjunction first with Uranus and Taurus. Things will feel a little unconventional, different out of the box. And then we will see planets come into conjunction with Jupiter. And this is going to make things feel bigger. But these cycles are important because we're going to see inner planets like the Sun and Venus, eventually Mercury, come into conjunction with both Jupiter and Uranus. So when these happen annually, it's basically setting a new cycle relating to the two planetary themes. So in astrology, when we think about Jupiter, right, Jupiter is traditionally a sign that is associated with both Sagittarius and Pisces, and it is exalted in the sign of Cancer. But when we think about Jupiter going through Taurus, it's been magnifying things relating to Taurus-related topics all year long, really since the spring of 2023. And when we think about Uranus, you know, this is a planet that is, in more modern day sense of astrology, associated with Aquarius. It's unconventional, different, futuristic. So we're combining the themes of these two planets really since we saw the conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus in April of this year. Now, Jupiter specifically, if we want to profile this planet, we think about expansion, growth, wisdom, philosophy. It's considered a very positive planet, bringing good fortune and opportunities. However, like I said, it will make things feel bigger. So there is a sense of if something is going well, it'll go much better than usual. And if things are feeling a little uncomfortable or if there is change happening very quickly, we're going to feel that magnified as well. So really what I think about the conjunctions to Jupiter is going to be on an individual level experiences where we may notice that we have more abundance. We may have more resources, more love, a little bit more luck, and I think more of a desire for exploration and understanding because that's what Jupiter is all about. While Uranus, on the other hand, because it's associated with innovation and changes, rebelliousness, and sudden events, there can be some unexpected things that are happening this week. So these two conjunctions are going to be happening very close together. So it's like a little bit of like a sweet and a salty aspect. But Uranus is known as the awakener. It's here to kind of shake things up, to, be more innovative, to think about where we can get outside of the box, get outside of our comfort zone. And it often brings unexpected shifts and transformations when it comes to our life. So we're going to experience with these conjunctions sudden changes in a desire, I think, for more freedom and more individuality when it comes to our own lives. Now, something else we're going to see at the tail end of the week, and this will be bleeding into the astro weather for next week, but we are going to be seeing that Mars will be coming into conjunction with the North Node in Aries. In my opinion, this is a call to action. This is about urging us on an individual level to embark on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. The North Node represents where we have yet to go, and Mars is all about that motivation, that dedication, linear energy, forward motion basically, and it will amplify the qualities of Aries. So we're going to notice that it takes courage to kind of step into the future, into the unknown. We're going to have to practice a lot of determination and leadership skills. And on an individual level, we're supposed to be navigating this period with a sense of assertiveness and purpose, ultimately fulfilling our destiny. So we're kind of stepping into the future this week. It is super futuristic. I kind of feel like it's like getting into the Back to the Future car and just like hitting warp speed, and suddenly we're making these quantum leaps forward. Ready or not, here we go. That's basically how this week is going to be feeling. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to go day by day, and we're going to take a look at the transits. Really good time to pull your chart out, or a pen and paper, notebook, or your calendar, just so you can note some of the themes for the week ahead. Now, if you're watching on Sunday, the 12th, happy Sunday to my Sunday crew. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope your weekend has gone awesome. We're waking up this morning with that moon in Cancer. So the moon's at home. We're feeling maybe a little sentimental. We're hanging out and feeling more so connected to family, to roots, to security, kind of domestic things. The moon is very happy here, and it's going to be making a pretty sweet trine this morning to Saturn. Saturn in Pisces is about creating boundaries and limitations within our psychic field. So this is a great day to kind of sit down and think about, how can I better energetically protect myself? How am I creating better or stronger emotional boundaries? What are my emotions telling me? What's my intuition telling me? And aligning all of that to help you navigate some of the other tricky aspects with this lunar transit. The moon moves very quickly, but something that's been happening since early this morning is the moon has been in a square to the North and South Node. Perhaps since Saturday night, last night, you've been feeling that moon square Mars, where we've been a little aggravated, right? Mars in its domicile, moon in its domicile, both are kind of duking it out with that square, where maybe there is this tear between how we have handled things in the past, our comfort zone, what we do out of security, and what we're actually needing to get done, and how we need to get out of our comfort zone and show a little bit more oomph, a little bit more courage, and kind of getting out of our own way. So we're still feeling that square since last night. And when the moon comes into a square with its own nodes, fateful things happen. So Saturday into today, there's still some stuff that's kind of getting kicked around with that square. We will also eventually see the moon come into a square with Chiron. So we can be kind of reflecting on old wounds, where maybe because we're not getting out of our old patterns, we're having a tendency to stay in the past or become so consumed with the past that it's actually doing us some kind of harm, and we're needing to let the past go and learn to be brave and kind of heal ourselves. Now, something else that you're going to be seeing is that with this square, it's emotionally charged, right? There's also communication issues that we're going to see later in the day as the moon starts coming into a square with Mercury. The nice thing, though, is that the moon is sextiling the stellium of planets in Taurus. So we see lots of solid ground, sturdy, consistent, reliable. Taurus is about our habits and routine, what we have a tendency to eat, spend, consume, how we are reinvesting in ourselves and really working on our self-worth and knowing our worth, so that way we can kind of better stay calm, stay grounded during some of these transits, and learn how to rebuild something in a different way. Safety and security is key when we're looking at these two particular signs, and something that you're also going to start feeling today is the sun is getting rather close to that conjunction with Uranus, which will be happening tomorrow, Monday into Tuesday. But I work with about a 2 or 3 degree orb. So as soon as the sun starts coming into conjunction with Uranus, we're like, ooh, something's changing, something's brewing, some kind of big shift. So the question is how do we stay emotionally grounded? How do we support ourselves in the midst of this? And how do we learn how to let go of old, outdated emotional patterns and really kind of push forward? I think that's really kind of the key here. Getting out of your comfort zone will be the theme all week long. So the key is finding these patterns and habits and routines that can keep you grounded. Maybe it's, making sure that you're getting a little bit of time outside, right? After all, Taurus is an earth element, whether that's going for a walk, grounding, gardening, right? Doing something that can kind of help you feel a little bit more secure when things can kind of feel like a little shaky. Anyway, so that's pretty much most of today. You'll see these squares happening to Chiron and Mercury as we get later into the day. But thankfully, those sextiles are there to Taurus. And it looks like we'll pick up around late afternoon, the moon square Chiron. So you're seeing that here. And then into the evening, we're going to begin to see the moon come into a square with Mercury. So communication's a little tricky here. I would say, if there's any traveling that needs to be done, do it earlier in the day. If there's any conversations that need to be had, contracts that need to be signed, things like that. Pushing communication is not going to work very well in the PM hours Sunday night. So just a heads up there, guys. As we get later into the evening, that moon is going to trine Neptune in Pisces. So definitely kind of feeling really tapped in. Intuition is like super, super, super awake. We might see some really interesting dreams that are also happening with that moon trine Neptune in the final degrees and some of the sextiles to Uranus. This may be a time where there's like signs and symbols and omens that are coming up for you that you're recognizing and you're like, okay, this is a sign that, I need to move forward or that I need to kind of pay attention to something that's coming up for me emotionally. So watch for that in the evening on Sunday. Now the moon will keep moving through Cancer very early on Monday morning, the 13th. It will ingress into Leo. So for most of us, when we're waking up in the morning, the moon is in Leo. Bright, creative, fun, but unfortunately, whenever we see the moon move into this sign, it will immediately be met with an opposition to Pluto. So Monday morning feels a little emotionally intense. Oppositions are relational, so likely we're going to be seeing some things that are going on outside of ourselves that's creating some emotional tension. Leo is main character energy, right? It's creativity, self-expression. It is about love and chances and romance. And it's going to be making some nice aspects throughout the transit to planets in Aries. So taking chances, getting creative, getting out there, showing your talents, that's the theme. But we may be kind of feeling a little anxious or a little shy or afraid maybe to show some of these things to the world. So there can be a sense of like second guessing ourselves coming up in the morning on Monday. That will pass right around the time we get to midday, and right around the time the moon is starting to come into a trine with Mars is a much better time for creating, socializing, sharing, being active in these things, because at least the moon is going to have an outlet as it begins to trine Mars, which is going to give us a little bit more motivation and also willingness to, get out there and do something. And then as we get into the evening, the moon will also trine the North Node. So I'm loving Monday night for creative activities, hanging out with your kids, going on a date, anything like that. And something else to take, into consideration is while the moon is in Leo, we're always looking at the sun, because the sun rules Leo. And what we're going to see earlier in the day is that the sun will come into conjunction with Uranus. And so this is going to happen, it looks like sometime around the early morning. So I'm kind of putting these two transits together, like sun conjuncts Uranus, anything is possible. This is when you think something's going to go left, it goes right. When you think it's going to go up, it goes down type of day. The sun does talk about shining a light on things. And so it's kind of highlighting Taurus themes. Uranus is not happy in this sign because it's not stable, right? It's not consistent. And this is going to also be happening at a 23, which is an Aquarius degree. So, early morning, Monday, we're going to see this Sun-Uranus conjunction, and then we see the moon oppose Pluto Monday morning is going to be quite active, kids. Let me read to you guys what Nicola has to say about 23 degrees. Here we go. All right. Okay, so the degrees of Aquarius and degree astrology is always 11 and 23. And so if you guys are wondering, what am I talking about? I'm talking about this conjunction right here, 23. So we've got Uranus within a Uranian degree. This is now stepping in further into the third decan of Taurus, and it's with the conjunction of the sun. Well, this is the degree of astrology. So astrology, astrologers, stars, it's also about divorces or separations, explosions, missiles, bombs, loud noises, planes, pilots, airports, electricity, electrical engineering, lightning, height, jump, something that's rapid or speeding up, ingeniousness, intelligent inventions, things that are modern, things that are foreign, loss of life, nervous system, stress, causing stress, sudden fast interruptions, future, and to look ahead. Okay, so number one, I have found with these Uranus conjunctions, there's always some weird kind of electrical things that happen. So could we see some kind of something happening with a major electrical storm? Could we see, you know, some kind of chaotic situation in regards to transactions and digital banking? Sure, we could see these things because it's Taurus. And in the background, you know, Venus is the dispositor of this conjunction because she rules Taurus, and she's right behind, and eventually she will come into conjunction with Uranus as well. So if I put it all together here, that moon in opposition to Pluto, I'm wondering, are we going to see a major social media network go down or an app go down? Are we going to see an internet outage? Are we going to see some kind of weather event or something that's going to potentially impact connection to social media, possibly, or some outages? I'm assuming that's what's going to happen because that's generally what takes place here. Be mindful also that because Venus is involved as the dispositor and she rules the South Node, this can be talking about like upgrades and things that are about us moving from one system to another, or one form of currency to another, or I think we're going to hear potentially more about another banking collapse or another bank consuming another bank, or forward motion and it kind of coming out into the open. We're hearing more about tokenization, CBDCs, certain banks that are saying, yes, you know, we're going to be actually doing this. I'm assuming that's what's going to come up. And then we've got that moon in opposition to Pluto where people can be reacting very strongly to some of these changes that are innovations within technology or money. So a lot kind of baked into this day. Let's read to you guys the 24 degrees of Taurus because we round up with the Sabian symbols. So what does it say for 24 degrees of Taurus? All right, so 24, a mounted Indian with scalp locks. The keyword is command. The theme is the conqueror. The symbol speaks to the accomplishment and pride and the ability to gain superior position of authority over others. The image of a mounted Indian with scalp locks is an aggressive symbol, and it suggests a primitive need to conquer and rule. The horse, which alluded but is not specifically mentioned, represents power, the senses, and the lower animal instincts of man. The scalp lock symbolizes thought, mind, imagination, and intelligence. The Indian depicted in the position of control over himself and others. Interestingly, this image was not designated by Mark Jones as the image that came through the reverse symbolism. From this, it can be implied that this is not an ominous symbol, but rather an indication of earned authority and achievement. In modern times, the symbol could represent a corporate headhunter. At its highest, the symbol represents self-discipline and mastership. Watch for tyranny and ruthlessness of off-with-their-heads approach to life, and an obsession with controlling the thoughts and minds of others. The accent is on conquest and self-mastery. There is a chance that things could get aggressive today and heads might roll. Your greatest advantage lies in staying calm and exercising self-discipline. Guard against losing your temper or being too controlling. Avoid power struggles. Stepping stones are authority, control, dominion, leadership, superiority, command, mastery, skill, achievement, aggression, and headhunting. So the question is, when things start to get a little chaotic, do you resist, right? Or do you say, okay, it's time to kind of like, you know, it's time to kind of step up, take control of the situation. There's a difference between, I think, managing things well and like being a leader, especially with like Mars getting close to the North Node, and like dominating and like trying to be like a tyrant about stuff. Trying to dominate and control things will not work. And I'm going to tell you guys that this is a time to really pay attention to what's going on with world leadership. Because the moon in Leo is about leaders. So it's going to be about prime ministers, presidents. It's going to be about heads of companies. We're going to see, you know, what's kind of going on and where people are actually saying, this is what we're going to do. You don't have a choice. This is what's happening. That opposition to Pluto is how everybody is going to be reacting to this power grab or this control situation. And the Sun Uranus is basically saying the physical effects that this may be having on things in like a financial sense. So we might see where some CEO comes out and says, well, we don't really care what people think, this is what we're doing. And then, you know, they can have like a Bud Light moment. Equally, I think this is going to be about real leaders in regards to countries, and where people are starting to open their eyes and they're really realizing that tyranny is like a real thing. So I'll just leave it at that, but I am anticipating that we're going to be seeing some stuff where people who are in control are going to be making some very bold statements, direct out in the world in your face, and people are going to be like, is this really happening? All right, so let's take this now to the other transits that are going to be taking place. Today, Mercury officially comes out of shadow on the 13th. Thank goddess, right? So finally, we kind of clear that post-shadow. If you've been waiting to sign a contract, sign a lease, buy a car, launch a business, anything like that, in theory, right, you have the green light to do this because now you're out of the shadow. However, I would say that in the days to follow, we are getting ready to see Mercury come into a square with Pluto. So be very selective with your election dates or for when you want to do these things. There is some other kind of chaotic stuff going on in the skies, which does not necessarily make communication easy over the next couple of days. Now, when I think about the Sun-Uranus conjunction, I think about how the Sun represents our identity, right? So what we identify as or with. And obviously it's about vitality, and Uranus symbolizes, you know, unexpected events and changes. So there may be some unexpected things going on, changes with leaderships or heads of companies or countries or, you know, like banks. Generally during the Sun-Uranus transit, you know, it's a period of sudden unexpected changes, but also opportunities. And this usually comes from some desire from personal freedom. So it's a time where our sense of self-worth and confidence can actually be boosted, leading to a much more positive outlook on life. And the Sun can actually amplify Uranus's energy, and it can result in a potential period of significant growth and breakthroughs or new ideas and kind of breaking from traditional norms. I find that with these transits, generally people are feeling more inclined to try new experiences, take risks, pursue their goals with a sense of enthusiasm. Obviously, Jupiter is very nearby, so I'm going to tell you guys that those of you guys who are willing to take risks this week, there may be some significant reward. I personally think it's a favorable time for learning. I think it's also a really great time for expanding your horizons, and with that combination of Sun and Uranus, I think, yes, there can be opportunity for financial gain, but also for recognition and personal development. The one thing that you want to think about, though, is because Uranus is a bit of like a curveball, you want to maintain a sense of balance and moderation during this transit, okay? Because people have a tendency to want to kind of make snap decisions with Uranus transits. Sometimes we can feel like we stuck our finger in a light socket, or we can kind of feel a little erratic because things are kind of progressing too fast, too soon. Definitely with Jupiter being by, there can be the sense of being a little too overly confident or trying to push something too quick or too fast. And so I'd say just be mindful of your actions and your decisions to ensure that the opportunities that are being presented to you during this period, you're utilizing them in a constructive, sustainable way. You're not just kind of like having 3 or 4 days of just being kind of buck wild. Ground your energy. This is so important because Uranus is connected to an earth sign. So it's about the physical planet. Can we see rocks, rattles, and rolls with this physically? You know, volcanoes and earthquakes? Yes, we can. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen everywhere. So don't freak out about that. I think this is just more about the frequencies on the planet actually like really kind of tuning in and tuning up. So grounding mats, crystals, putting your feet in the grass, you know, going for a walk on the beach, simple things that you can do to ground your energy as we're kind of going through this week, so you're not feeling like you're like on a roller coaster, you know? Anyway, so that's going to be Monday. Obviously, Monday is one hell of a day. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. We'll take that moon all the way through into the PM hours, and then we're going to get to Tuesday the 14th. So when we wake up on Tuesday, there we go. Moon is still in Leo, so nothing's really kind of changing here. We'll have a brief couple of days where the sun is in between Uranus, where it's been kind of electrified, and it's approaching a conjunction to Jupiter. I see like this week as like a small window of opportunity. That's like, if you want to free yourself from something, if you want to break away from something, if something suddenly ends, whether it's a relationship, a job, a financial situation, maybe you just kind of reach your breaking point with something. Yes, it's kind of like ripping off the bandage with Sun Uranus, and it's shocking and surprising. But as the sun comes closer and closer to Jupiter, you may actually feel like, you know what, that was the best thing that could have happened. I wanted to quit anyway, you know, they let me go, or I've been wanting to move anyway, and my lease ended. Like something like that could happen. Try to have a glasses half full perspective this week. Look at the silver lining, because a lot of what's getting shaken out is actually here to bring you new blessings. You're not going to see that though until you start seeing conjunctions between, I think, like the Sun and Jupiter and Venus and Jupiter. But I'm just letting you guys know to stay positive and optimistic. So in the morning, the moon is going to come into a trine with the North Node, and it's about being creative, being yourself, being authentic, being heart-centered with that moon in Leo. When it trines with the North Node, it's activating us on a very personal level to choose happiness, choose joy, be creative, play with that, you know, inner artist energy, you know, really listen to your inner child and what your heart is saying. We will then start to see, as the moon moves forward, squares to Venus, and you'll see some trines to Chiron. So this gets a little tricky because as the moon continues to move through Leo, you'll see a number of squares, both, you know, on the 14th, but also on the 15th to Taurus. And so it's going to feel a little jumbled. So let's see what else is going on here. The moon is going to keep moving. So let's keep taking that through the 14th. And it's also still pointing to the Sun-Uranus conjunction, so maybe we're still feeling it. I would say with the moon also in Leo, coming into the squares that you're going to see on the 14th and the 15th, these I anticipate are days where we're going to see some pretty significant swings with the stock market because the moon represents, you know, investments and taking chances, and I think it's going to be bringing a lot of attention to changes that can be happening with financial markets. All right, so that moon's going to keep moving. It's going to pick up a, let's see, it's going to pick up a square to Venus around the early PM hours. This just makes it a little bit more difficult to relate. This also makes it a little bit more difficult when it comes to money transactions, resources, having a difference of opinion on values, things like that. And then we're going to start to see the moon in the PM hours begin to trine Chiron. So that's pretty much, most of the action seems like it's going to be earlier in the day, to be honest with you. All right, so that moon's going to keep going, and that's going to be leading us into Wednesday the 15th. And we wake up in the morning on Wednesday. We still have the moon in Leo. It is now squaring Uranus, the Sun, and Jupiter. So this is going to be the first quarter square. So if you guys think back to the new moon that we had in Taurus, 18 degrees, I think, this is the first square. So I see this as kind of like, there's some bumps in the road today. It's going to feel like a little bit of like, okay, this is happening. You know, how do we kind of make the changes? Remember that that new moon in Taurus was conjunct Uranus. So it was about getting outside of our comfort zone. It was about experiencing some shocks and surprises. And this is going to feel a little wonky on Wednesday morning when the moon squares Uranus. So we're feeling emotionally kind of destabilized, shocked, and surprised. The moon is going to square the sun, so we don't really feel like things are going according to plan. And then the moon is going to square Jupiter, and so it's going to feel like a little bit more irritating and bigger than usual. Quite literally, I'm thinking about Tuesday and Wednesday and whatever shocking, surprising news came maybe from the Sun-Uranus conjunction, and then it's the market effects on Tuesday and Wednesday and how things are kind of reacting to that. I do think that when we have these fixed squares that are happening as well, they're rigid, right? They don't want to change. Taurus is like, nope, I want to stay consistent. I want to stay the same. But there is no choice. We have to move forward and be innovative with some of our resources, or with the planet, or with our food, or how we're spending money, as all these conjunctions are happening in Taurus. And that Leo moon is dramatic. So it's playing off of that, and it's saying like, I'm going to make a big deal about this, or I'm going to, shout it from the rooftops, or I'm going to, create some chaotic kind of emotional situations to see, are you in a position where you're so unwilling to change that it's creating like a lot of emotional kind of hangups and problems for you, and that it's finally getting the time to finally kind of free yourself of a situation. So I would watch for that. Like I said, plans are going to feel a little jumbled. We will see the moon move to the late degrees of Leo, and right when it does, it's coming into a trine with Mercury. Mercury will also move into Taurus on this day, on the 15th, right around midday. So we are going to find that maybe when Mercury was like at a critical degree, there's a lot of like, I want it now, kind of like forward motion, a little demanding at that critical degree of Aries, and then communication calms down a little bit as soon as Mercury moves into Taurus. All right, so the moon's going to keep moving. It looks like it's going to drop into the sign of Virgo in the early PM hours. And when it does, it's immediately going to be met with a trine to Mercury, which is good because Mercury rules Taurus. So my advice is, things may feel so kind of chaotic, on like Tuesday going into Wednesday, that I would save any important communications, meetings, travel, anything like that, pretty much from like Wednesday night on. It would get a lot easier, especially because, when we see Mercury trining the moon, and the moon's ruled by Mercury, we're just going to feel like plans are going more smoothly, travel's going more smoothly, communications are a little friendlier. And we're going to be able to kind of like really get down to details with that moon in Virgo. All right, so that's going to pretty much be all of Wednesday. So let's see what happens here. So the moon's going to keep moving through Virgo in the PM hours. We will then see on Thursday the 16th, you can make a note, this is a pretty quiet day. So this is pretty much like the kind of the mellow day all week. That moon's going to stay in the sign of Virgo. You're going to start to see it briefly. Let's see, what's it doing? Yeah, it's not really doing much. We have a pretty unexpected moon. The only thing that we're really going to kind of pick up on the 16th is that the moon is going to, start building into an opposition with Saturn, but I think that's going to happen closer to the 17th in the morning. And the moon is going to come into a quincunx with Mars and the North Node. So when we have a really unexpected moon, not a lot of things go on, but also if you're trying to do something, you're trying to launch something, may not be the best time to do it. Probably a better day to do some of that stuff is as we're getting into the 17th, the next day, when we're starting to see trines to these planets. Now that Mercury in Taurus is starting to come into a square with Pluto. So kind of uncomfortable with that moon in Virgo, because it wants to be busy, right? It wants to check things off the to-do list. It wants to clean up, organize, be productive, help other people with services. And the moon is squaring Pluto. So we're going to feel this really intense mental pressure. There can be, people who are pressing us for information, pressing us to call. We see more people who have really uncomfortable or difficult conversations. Squares are energies where it's like the energy of Mars. It's forcing you to do something. So Mercury in Taurus, it's kind of slow. Like there is a sense of like it's taking too long to, upgrade the computer, or it's taking too long to receive the email or the confirmation. And people can get a little intense and be like, why is this not happening sooner? Why are we not fixing this sooner? So that moon in Virgo is kind of like on its own. And with the quincunxes to these placements in Aries, I feel like it's going to make people feel a little irritated and be like, okay, let's speed this process up. What's going on? And it's going to put people in a position of having to be either a little bit more self-sufficient or a little bit more patient. But Mercury-Pluto square is we don't really have a lot of patience when it comes to communication or technology. Anyway, too long didn't listen. Thursday's a relatively quiet day, but you might notice that there is the beginning of some communication issues. All right, so let's take this into now Friday. So this is going to be the 17th. So it looks like that Pluto square with Mercury is going to happen very early morning on the 17th. Something that I usually find with that, you know, it's like, this is when we're here, like, we're going to hear stuff like, oh, there was like a big data breach, or, you know, oh, there was a bunch of information that, you know, got like hacked into like a bank or a system. I don't like saying this stuff, but it is happening at a 2, okay? 2 is a money degree. It's about resources and food. So it's about something feeling threatened. It can also be about surveillance stuff and, you know, some news coming out about, you know, who has access to what we're buying, or aware of, you know, where we're buying from, or, you know, something relating to our personal possessions and authority and control. And, you know, Pluto in Aquarius is very much about things that are being screened and stuff. I wonder if we're going to hear more mainstream headlines about the fact that apparently Americans have had no idea, but like, you know, the IRS has been scanning people's like bank accounts and going through and seeing like what people are spending and like where their money is going, and has just been doing it like freely, and not a lot of people have known that. And so I'm wondering, is that going to come up? Or is it going to be more kind of political talk about, you know, what we're spending and how much money we're spending, sending money out of places, or providing food or resources, with all the stuff that's been going on with immigration. So look for some of those intense money topics to be kind of coming up globally, 16th, 17th. But very early in the morning is when that square happens. Best believe that if the moon is in Virgo, we're going to be hearing about it. So it's interesting to see Mercury square Mercury square Pluto in a Saturn energy. So it's going to be about limitations and how it's really, you know, impacting people on a very personal level. Right when the moon is coming into an opposition with Saturn, and I'm not making this like a political thing, but Saturn in Pisces is quite literally about immigration. It's about borders. You know, Saturn in Pisces is about the dissolving of borders. It's about issues that we're having with not having a lot of visibility with what's going on with immigration. And this is possibly going to be talking about the impact that that's having on services, right? Moon in Virgo can be like healthcare. It can be about you know, providing homes and food and resources for people, and feeling kind of strapped or not having a lot of clarity about where these resources are going. So it makes sense that Mercury square Pluto was like people being like, wait, how much money are we spending on that? And how could some of that money be better allocated to like other programs? And also, how much money are we letting go out of the country? And why is that not being more so integrated into like where we are now? So I'm an American, so I'm just letting you guys know that's my interpretation, and I'm wondering if we're going to hear more about that. We may also hear this be about major weather events, because the moon and Saturn are immutable signs. And so it can be about how major weather events are having, you know, physical effects when it comes to like resources and health and services provided. All right, so also on the 17th, something else that you're going to see is that the moon is going to make a trine to Venus. So that's good. It means that we have the necessary support and resources. They are nearby. It does help us when it comes to being more generous and more kind of relationship oriented. We will also see that moon come into a trine with Uranus and the sun, and that Sun Jupiter conjunction is kind of heating up as well. So it looks like we're going to get the moon trine Venus midday, and then we're going to get the trine to Uranus literally 2 hours later. So we're emotionally responding, we're reacting to things. And then we're going to see the moon start coming into a trine with the sun. So by Friday night, it's like, okay, you know, some stuff has happened. We had some speed bumps, moon in opposition to Saturn, but, you know, we're improvising, we're making it work. You know, how can we kind of better schedule, get things handled, and handle things in a very kind of practical manner. So I'm liking Friday night, to be honest with you. I think we get out of some of the, you know, Mercury, Pluto stuff. We get out of some of the Saturn opposition stuff. We're feeling like a little bit more capable of cutting loose and having a good time Friday night as Venus is coming into conjunction with Uranus. All right, so then we're going to see, I think it'll be late Friday night that Venus-Uranus will conjunct. Let's take a look. Yeah, so that's kind of happening into early Saturday morning. So just know, Venus coming into conjunction with Uranus, we're feeling like we need a little bit of a change, right? Especially at 23 degrees. So people are going to be feeling like they want to party, they want to kind of socialize, they want to get out, they want to do something, and kind of, yeah, do something different. It's about, you know, changes in, you know, social relationships, how we're styling ourselves, how we're dressing, how we're relating to other people. And Venus-Uranus needs to have freedom, and it likes to socialize, and it likes to have a good time. So Friday and Saturday night, I think we're going to see that. There can definitely be a lot of that. And when we wake up on Saturday morning on the 18th, we'll actually be waking up with the moon in Libra, okay? So the moon is in Libra, ruled by Venus. So isn't it interesting that when we're seeing these conjunctions, have you guys noticed this? That like the planets are really being activated this week through the dispositor of the moon? Awesome. So when the moon's in Libra, we're talking about relationships, partnerships, you know, we're meeting with clients, we're connecting with, business partners, we're talking to our spouses more, we're more focused on what other people need. And here we have Venus conjunct Uranus. First thing in the morning, shocks and surprises, 23 degrees. Once again, that's like a, Uranian degree. So I do think we're going to be hearing on the 18th, 19th, 20th, lots of shakeups in relationships, lots of changes in relationships. It's, well, we're breaking up, we're separating, we're going our separate ways, or we need some space, or I'm no longer working with this client, or I've kind of let them go. I would say that anyway with Venus conjunct Uranus, but since that moon is heading towards an opposition with Mars and a conjunction to the South Node, we are going to hear more about this stuff this week. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. Solid relationships will work. But keep in mind that with Mars coming in conjunction with the North Node, on an individual level, we're like, I want what I want. I'm going after what I want. I need what I need. And that moon coming in conjunction with the South Node is that emotional clearing, that karmic clearing, the letting go of relationships that don't satisfy our own needs or our own goals, the cutting ties with certain relationships with people who are just not aligning with us anymore because we're becoming aware of what we need on an individual level. So when we put all of that together, the North Node karmic stuff, kind of moving, I guess, more so into our Dharma, I would say, North Node is about Dharma, where we're going. And the South Node moon karmic stuff is kind of like, it's like a huge liberation party that's happening this weekend. That's like finally freeing something. And it may feel uncomfortable. I know I've definitely seen a lot of people who are like, okay, things are kind of wild, or May has been more chaotic than April, or I'm having a difficult time. Why is this not resonating? Like I said, the conjunctions to Uranus are shocking and surprising, and it's about pulling something or ripping something apart, or, like leaving something behind for a new future. You just don't see that this is a positive change quite yet, because just now the sun is coming into conjunction with Jupiter. And really, for a lot of us, Jupiter, it takes a whole year to see what Jupiter in a sign will actually bring. It's not really until a year later we look back and go, wow, we really did grow in that area of our life. Well, we're now nearing the end of the Jupiter and Taurus transit. So when I look at this on the 18th, I'm like, okay, moon moves into Libra, it's going to start coming into a trine with Pluto. So we're going through a lot of emotional changes. A lot of things are turning over. That Venus-Uranus conjunction is happening. So we see changes suddenly with relationships and resources, bringing about some kind of freedom. And Venus is, after all, not only the ruler of Taurus, so it's saying, look, this is splitting apart, but this is a good thing. It's good that this is like, changing or dissolving in some way. But also it's playing off of that moon conjunct the South Node. Some people are going to be cutting ties with people because they're like, they're not valuing me, right? Or I'm not getting paid enough for this, or I don't feel good when I'm in this relationship. It's not making me feel good about myself. And so there is this sense of really sticking up for ourselves and knowing our worth and saying, you know what, I know that I don't deserve this. And I'm really needing to kind of like practice that and kind of embody that and build yourself up, even if that means you have to walk away from certain partnerships or relationships because you're so aware and tuned into your values, right? Anyway, truth is, this is a mixed bag day, all right? So like I said, there is going to be sweet and then there is going to be salty. But I do think that whatever you lose as a result of this conjunction may result in some sort of significant gain or hidden blessing. So stay blessed, right? Remind yourself you're blessed. The universe is always providing for you. Everything is always working out for you, even though you're not seeing it quite yet. You got to believe that, right, Jupiter? So I'm going to give you the sweet and the salty. But to be honest with you, I'm going to give you the salty first because I think it's just better just to kind of cut to the chase. In my opinion, the salty is the Venus-Uranus, because when I see Venus meeting with Uranus, Venus is kind of like stunned, right? She's shocked about some kind of surprise. She's in her home sign, but it's happening at 23 degrees. So This conjunction is going to be marked, I think, by sudden changes and unexpected developments, particularly in areas of love and relationship or finances. This is a unique blend of energies that are both exciting but also disruptive. So during this time on an individual level, you know, there may be a strong desire for freedom, for independence, and kind of having some sense of getting outside of a relationship. And this transit can trigger more excitement and adventure, leading to impulsive actions, new encounters, or unconventional romantic connections. But it can also lead to sudden realization that what one truly values in relationships, and this awareness of, you know what, I really want this, I really need this, and it can prompt a reassessment of a current relationship or bond in the search for a more unique or authentic connection. Okay, so we're gonna see some people go, this is just not working for me, basically. Now, financially, this transit can bring about unexpected opportunities or sudden shifts in resources. It's a time where people might be more open to taking risks with their investments or their finances, but it could also lead to significant gains or losses depending on the circumstances. So, you know, think about that. I know that Venus meeting with Uranus is going to shake things up, but then the conjunction to Jupiter is like, wait, it's a really big shakeup, right? Or, you know, I just need a little bit of space. Actually, I want a separation. So there is this sense of this kind of continuing for a couple days. Now, the positive is because Venus rules beauty and arts. This can really stimulate creativity and innovation. So it can be a great time for exploring a new artistic expression or embarking on projects that require a unique or original approach. Digital art, NFTs, things that are kind of futuristic, unconventional, you know, kind of fast forward, modern is something that I would think of. And obviously Taurus is going to be modern money, modern food, the future and innovation of art and style and jewelry, like something like that's going to be kind of happening. But watch out. Okay, this is the salty. Watch out for very unpredictable and sometimes erratic energies that can lead people to making impulsive decisions or sudden changes that are not always sustainable in the long term. This might be the week that you get the itch and you're like, I just really want out of the relationship, or I really want to invest in this, you know, particular investment, or I really want to quit my job. And there is this tendency with fixed signs, especially Taurus, to be black and white, all in or all out. And it really depends on your personal placements, but I will say that I have found these conjunctions generally are that couple days of having an itch, and then you realize like, oh my God, what did I do? You know, why did I put all of my money into that investment? Or why did I, you know, file for divorce? And really it's just about giving yourself a couple of days until these energies settle. Be mindful of your actions and decisions so that way you can ensure the opportunities that are being presented during this period are used in a constructive and sustainable way. All right, so people are going to be a little erratic out there, full disclosure. All right, now you guys have had the salty, I'll give you the sweet. The sweet is, we've got a Sun-Jupiter conjunction. Like, this astrology is buck wild. You know, Sun conjunct Jupiter, larger than life, shining a light on joy, expansion, beauty, right? Abundance, resources, and it's super, super sweet because it's in the late degrees of Taurus. So with the Sun conjuncting Jupiter, it basically means that, you know, we're connecting the energy of the sun, which can be ego, vitality, leaders, you know, shining a light on finances and resources, meeting with Jupiter, which is going to expand, grow, and bring good fortune. All right, so when we see this conjunction, I really feel like the sun is shining a light and it's showing us the completeness of what Jupiter has been working on, expanding, or teaching you throughout this last year. So look at your chart. Where is Taurus, right? Since May of 2023, Jupiter has been in Taurus. It's been growing, growing, growing. It's gone through a retrograde. It's come into conjunction with other planets. And now it's meeting with Jupiter. And it's basically saying to you, this is what I'm giving you after a whole year of growth and learning and expansion and really making some big physical changes. So this is where you kind of get that gift. I do think it's going to be obvious, right? Because Taurus is an earth sign. And in the days ahead, we will see Jupiter move into the sign of Gemini. So actually, this is where we're receiving all of the goodies. This is where we're receiving all of the abundance, everything that we've been kind of building towards in this last year. I think about when a planet leaves a house, it usually leaves a gift. And because Jupiter is going to be leaving when it hits 29 degrees on that full moon in Sagittarius, with a Jupiter conjunction, some of you guys are actually going to see some of the sweetness come through right around that. However, There is two sides to this. You know, there can be overdoing it, overindulgent, overspending, overeating. Because we're so damn optimistic with Sun conjunct Jupiter, there can be a sense of being extremely self-confident. But I also feel like there's opportunities for personal growth. I think this is when our sense of self-worth and confidence can be boosted, leading to a much more positive outlook on life. And the Sun's energy is amplifying Jupiter's influence, resulting in potential for success, abundance, and good luck. Now, on an individual level, I think some of us have already been like, okay, I want to take a risk. Is now the time to do it? Do I do it? Yes, here we go. And being optimistic about making some kind of change. It's a favorable time for traveling, for learning, and expanding your horizons. And I definitely think for some of you guys, it can be great for recognition and personal development. However, with this conjunction to Jupiter, okay, so the same way the Sun conjunct Uranus, it's setting the stage for the next year. Okay, Sun-Uranian things that are going to be happening in Taurus. The Sun conjunct Jupiter is the same thing. So we have to be mindful that we can be overconfident or excessively taking risks. So we need to be mindful of our actions and ensure that whatever's being presented to us, we're remaining kind of grounded and practical in how we're going about, receiving some of that goodness and trying to do it in like a sustainable way. It's not like over the top. Watch how you guys are spending with some of these transits, because there can be a tendency of just like price gouging and prices suddenly going up, or, feeling impulsively like you need to buy or consume a lot of something. This will be happening at 28 degrees of Taurus. And so 28 degrees is a Cancer degree. That deals with our homes, right? That deals with our family, that deals with our homeland. I think we're going to start to see where there is some significant numbers, I think connected to this next census that we're going to be seeing, because this can be, at least here in the United States, about the growth of a nation. But homes expanding, families expanding. This is very fertile also in the side of Taurus. I don't think I've really touched on that enough, but Taurus is a very fertile sign. It's ruled by Venus. So I think we're going to see a baby boom because of this. I think we're going to see a lot of people announcing pregnancies. I think we're going to see also a pretty big boom when it comes to people who are practicing a little bit more of a conservative lifestyle, because that's what Taurus is. People who are getting more into gardening. I think we're going to see beautiful gardens this spring and this summer. I think we're going to see a whole wave of people who are getting more so into learning, right, Jupiter, about gardening and also agriculture. Now, if we look at the 29th degree of Taurus, because we round up, it is two cobblers working at a table, and the keyword is capability. The theme is different points of view. The symbol speaks to brainstorming into an old adage that two heads are better than one. The image of two cobblers working at a table alludes to those situations where people talk things over as they work with their hands. The table where things, let's see where they work with it. Okay. The table where people come together to discuss matters, share their views, and weigh the pros and cons of things. Feet represent understanding. The act of repairing shoes symbolizes the attempt to straighten the frame of reference of which learning can take place. The emphasis here is on reason, dialogue, cooperative problem solving. At its highest, the symbol represents good judgment, objective thinking, and a willingness to look at all sides of an issue. Watch for psychological blocks in perception and understanding, and lack of ambition and initiative. The accent is on decision making. Meetings and discussions could occupy your time today. Your greatest advantage lies in listening to both sides before making up your mind. Talking things over with someone who you trust or whose opinion you value may help. Guard against idle gossip, believing everything you hear. Don't waste your time arguing over petty things. Stepping stones is cooperation, discussion, brainstorming, communication, different points of view, sharing, assistance, problem solving, skill, labor, and effort. So I'm excited to hear what all the financial analysts have to say on this day, because I could see like a really interesting kind of dialogue and back and forth about two sides of their opinion about what's going on with the global economy, or what's going on with inflation, or what's happening, with banking situations, and it being a very insightful, enlightening kind of conversation to see both perspectives or both, opinions, while Venus is meeting with Uranus. And so I think that there's going to be a lot of controversial conversation about the future of that. I think a lot of it is probably going to be about some stuff becoming more mainstream, pertaining, I think, to, what's going to be happening with like tokenization or digital currencies or CBDCs, and having that debate. Now, this conjunction is happening very close to Algol. That is one thing I will say, that 26 to 28 degrees is there. which can be about people losing their head. It can be about people freaking out about stuff. It can be about issues with alcohol and consumption. It can be also about these people with like religious, you know, connections or affiliations that can be acting out in crazy ways. Unfortunately, with that and also the North Node conjunct Mars, we are going to see more aggression. We are going to see people who are going to be a little bit more reactionary, combative. You know, when we see these conjunctions, you know, traditionally it can be omens of war or some kind of attack, right? So knock on wood. But that generally is what happens. So I'm wondering, is there something going on that's prompting that? You know, does somebody say something, you know, that kind of triggers something, and then there is some kind of like reaction of an individual who's, you know, lashing out. And Algol is a very, very tricky star because it can talk about that influence of where something can almost kind of like possess us. We become so possessed with something. But it can be about materialism. It can be about greed. It can be about, you know, food. It can be about, you know, being able to feel like we have the most of something, and so possessed with the idea of needing to, I think, have the gold, right? Sun Jupiter possessing the gold. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I wonder if this is going to be some pretty significant moves for gold, for copper. That's something else that I was kind of thinking about. Anyway, so that's the conjunction that we're going to see. So make a note of Saturday. That is just one hell of a day. I'm wondering what's going to take place then. And then we'll take this to now the 19th. Okay, so throughout the day, you'll see the moon start to come into an opposition with Mars before we get there in the PM hours. So this is interesting too. We've got a planet on the North Node. Now Mars and the North Node are conjunct. We've got the moon on the South Node. So these intense relationship dynamic events are still kind of taking place. And I should note, I've said this in the past, but I'll say it again, and I don't like saying it, but 14 degrees specifically of Libra has connections with assassinations. And so I've been looking at the 19th, where we have the South Node Moon conjunction, which represents the loss, the kind of karmic clearing. We've got Mars conjunct the North Node in Aries, which is direct combative, and this is Mars on steroids. It's ruthless. And we've had the Sun Jupiter conjunction taking place conjunct Algol. Recently, I think it was the Saudi prince that there was an assassination attempt against. And so I'm wondering if it's going to be more news relating to that. I wonder if it's going to be another leader of sorts, but I'm wondering what that's going to be. And also, yeah, some of the stories that have been coming out about whistleblowers connected to Boeing that have been unaliving themselves also makes me wonder. But something about this day on the 19th makes me wonder if there's something like that going on. Anyway, so we wake up and on the 19th, this is now Sunday, the moon's conjunct the South Node, emotional clearing, right? Getting it all out of our system. Moon in opposition to Mars, you know, having to do what we have to do, kind of focusing on our goals and the fact that we can't bring everybody with us. This is a combative energy where people are going to have issues relating to other people, so keep that in mind. Venus is still very close to Uranus. So while that moon is in Libra, it's still playing off of that conjunction where Venus has been kind of disrupted and, you know, things are kind of getting shaken up, and maybe we're having relationship issues or relating to other people because of difference of opinion, of values, you know, opinions about resources, about finances. So that's a little combative. We do also see that that moon will keep moving and it will oppose Chiron. So that's also going to be, you know, bringing up some issues in regards to emotional wounds, right? And where we are feeling wounded because of that loss and we're not feeling supported by someone. And so that can make us angry with the North Node conjunct Mars. Mars conjunct the North Node in Aries, like I said, it's going to feel intense. It's about independence, but also restless and fearless and pioneering. And so that North Node, first of all, it's ruled by Mars. So when you have the ruler there, it's magnifying the fact of we need to step into this kind of like, you know, persona. We need to put on our armor and our shield and kind of charge into battle. South Node Moon in Libra is we need to stop being emotionally indecisive. We need to stop, you know, partnering for the sake of, you know, appearances. We need to stop being fair weather in our relationships or our friendships. We have to let go of a sense of indecisiveness or, you know, surface kind of relationship stuff. This is really kind of doing the work, North Node Mars. That moon will oppose Chiron later in the day. here in the PM hours, right as the sun is hitting the last degree and Mars is coming into conjunction with the North Node. Wow. So it looks like right when Mars is met with the North Node, the moon is opposing Chiron. So it's still kind of saying like, okay, there's some personal wounding coming up and people getting angry and aggravated because they're like, why didn't you call me back? Or why aren't you, communicating with me? Or why aren't you working with me? Because Libra is known for being very diplomatic, but Venus is in some tricky territory where she's still being kind of disrupted by Uranus and she's approaching a conjunction to Jupiter. And while Jupiter is a positive planet, when planets hit the last degrees, it means that there is a completion that's happening. Something is kind of filtering out. Something is kind of, coming to a close. Now, on that Mars North Node conjunction, look, the 19th, 20th, 21st, this is when they're going to be, it's going to be the most intense. I feel like with Mars North Node in conjunction is a very potent and very dynamic period. And often it's marked by significant growth in personal development. It's very, very significant for Aries placements. So if you are an Aries sun, moon, or rising, or if you have anything 13 to 15 degrees of Aries, this is very significant for you. You might be a little bit spicier and feistier than usual. You might be a little bit more impatient, but it's because you're like, I know I have to do this thing. Scorpio and Scorpio risings for you as well. The Mars North Node conjunction is very significant. This is really important because Mars is one of your co-rulers. But I feel like it's directly impacting you guys most, but really, the North Node is a collective energy. So this is about all of us kind of moving forward and being like, okay, I'm ready to rumble, So get your guys' boxing gloves ready. The North Node represents a point in our destiny. Okay, so it's where we're going, both on an individual and a collective level, and it's really significant for our evolution. So that North Node Mars is channeling the inner archetype of being a warrior, being a soldier, being fearless, unafraid, ready for combat, ready to, kind of like strike. So we'll notice that there's more action, drive, and desire, and it will emphasize themes of courage, self-assertion, leadership, and independence. And because our Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and it's a fire sign, it's going to just be like, kind of taking off out of a barrel. This conjunction does not happen often, okay? So the North Node is in Aries every 18 to 19 years. If that year coincides with a Mars transit, then we will see it. So this is like a once in a, maybe every 18, 19 year period. We did have this the last time the North Node was in Aries. We did see some terrorist attacks as a result of it, unfortunately. And for me, I think this is kind of beating the drum of war. Personally, that's how I read this. But it's also about attacks, right? And Aries is individuals. And this is about individuals protecting, standing up, getting angry, getting frustrated. And it's happening at 14 degrees, which is a Taurus degree. So it's about money, my resources, what I need, right? And I think with some of the rumbles with Venus and Uranus, it's about people starting to wake up about money and resources and being like, wait, do I really have my money? Can I just take it out of the bank? Is there enough there? Like, what if I want to withdraw it? That kind of stuff. And people getting mad about, increased cost of living. The fact that, we are seeing it's just going up and up and up and becoming more difficult. And people are getting frustrated because they're feeling like they don't have what they need. So with this conjunction, it's calling for us to embrace our inner warrior, stand up for our personal beliefs, actively pursuing our passions with courage and determination, asserting ourselves, taking risks, and learning to lead with confidence. However, this conjunction also has challenges because with Mars's influence, there can be an inclination to be pushy and impulsive and impatient and like fight with people. So it's crucial that we use this energy and channel it in a constructive way rather than just kind of popping off, and make sure that our actions are aligning with our long-term goals. Now, in this situation, I can't look at the dispositor and go, where is it? Because, well, the dispositor is Mars itself. Let's read the Sabian symbol for this really quick. Let's take a look. So that's going to be Aries, 15 degrees. Aries, 15 degrees, an Indian weaving a basket. Weaving a blanket. The keyword is diligence. The theme is active participation. You guys have heard this one before, but I'll read it again. The symbol speaks to pride and personal fulfillment as achieved through creative self-expression. The image of an Indian weaving a blanket focuses on preservation of cultural values and traditions through art. At the same time, it depicts pleasure and satisfaction in an individual experience through meeting the needs of others. The symbol is similar to the meaning of the Eight of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite deck that expresses pride in a skilled craftsmanship who is able to artistically express himself, his values through his work in some tangible manner, and at the same time produce goods that meet a basic need for human society. This symbol of the weaver creating something provides protection from the elements as well as expresses its skills as an artist. The figure of the weaver also reflects patience and concentration, and that it symbolizes the stability and peace of mind that an individual can achieve through being an active contributing member of society that sustains him. In modern terms, it's called being a part of the process. At its highest, symbol represents self-fulfillment, enjoyment through opportunities to use personal skills, talents to benefit others. Watch for insecurity and a willingness to live dull and predictable life rather than face the uncertainty of commitment. The accent is on ethnicity, pride, workmanship, creative self-expression, a good time for visiting museums, taking an art class, delving into history traditions of different cultures, or working on your own personal project. Your greatest advantage lies in putting your talents to practical use for the benefit of others. Go for the conventional or traditional rather than innovative or fancy. Fill a need and warm a heart. Guard against oversensitivity, letting your work become too convenient, excuse for avoiding social relationships and involvement. Stepping stones is pride, conscientiousness, creativity, skill, artistry, craftsmanship, productivity, patience, concentration, work, and tradition. Which is so interesting to see all this Taurus stuff. That's like slow and steady wins the race, right? It's about quality over quantity and the willingness and the hard work and the dedication that comes from Mars in Aries. And it just keeps, it's initiating something. So I'm excited to see what happens because whatever is being built here at that Mars North Node conjunction, it may be something rather significant physically, financially, right? I think of that 14 degrees. I know I've covered it, but I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. But it has connections to money, wallet, bank, villages, things that we eat, kitchens, stuff that's fatty, nature's forests, parks, throat, neck, vocal cords, things that we grow or raise, to have, possess, what's mine, the color green, and to sing. Okay, so I'm interested, especially for creatives, people who are creatives, artists, designers, performers, singers, things like that. You may feel instinctually, it's like, I got to do this. Now is the time to create or to write or to perform. But my goodness, this week, you guys, I'm looking at this like, I'm excited to see what happens. Obviously, you guys will have to let me know. I do want to touch on specifically really quickly for you guys the Sun-Jupiter conjunction. So let's look at that. And I would like to take it through the 12 signs for you, so that way you have some awareness of where this is going to be taking place in this next week. And as a reminder, this is going to be the most potent for those of you guys who are Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, particularly 27 to 29 degrees. You're going to be feeling this strongly, or if you happen to have any planets in the late degrees of Taurus. But also Sagittarius and Pisces, because you guys are ruled by Jupiter. You'll be feeling this as well as the Sun is meeting with Jupiter, your ruler. And then Leo, because, well, the Sun rules your chart and it's going to hit Jupiter. I'm a Western astrologer. I'm going to be showing you guys this conjunction through the whole sign system. If you happen to be a Placidus user like me, that's what I like to do in my one-on-one sessions, look for where 28 degrees of Taurus is in your chart. You might have to listen to a different rising sign. You might feel like it's kind of bridging into the next house. Remember that this is really kind of completing a cycle of some sort, of something that's been brewing really since spring of 2023. In May is when we saw Jupiter first move into Taurus. So what we're seeing with this conjunction, and then next week when Venus shows up, is, oh my gosh, this is what I've built, or this is what's been created, or this is what I've accumulated. So listen for your rising sign followed by your sun and your moon sign. You can listen to all three to get a better understanding of what's going to be kind of happening and taking place and growing for you And we'll get started first with Aries and Aries rising. What's up, Aries? Obviously, you're doing this conjunction between the Sun and Jupiter in your second house. Okay, so this is about resources, money in your wallet, money in the bank. This is also about your possessions, what you're spending, what you're consuming. And this is very much a combination of fifth house, which is creativity, playtime, hobbies, and your ninth house, which is about travel and education. So you may find that you're spending a little bit more money to upgrade your seat to first class. You know, maybe you're deciding you want to spend, some resources on investing in a new hobby. Maybe you're spending a lot more money on your kids. Maybe you are having some resources come in and you're like, I'm going to plan a vacation. Something like that's happening. Great for self-esteem, great for your resources. I really feel like this is about really believing in yourself and your beliefs around money changing. And while it's changing, it's like you're looking at life where you're like, I'm already like wealthy, I'm already abundant. And that shift is actually, I think, bringing more in for you and also making you feel more secure and really helping you work on your self-esteem. Pay close attention this particular week with the Mars North Node conjunction. It's about going after what you want, okay? The card that I got for you, Aries, is the Hierophant, which is hilarious because this is the card that's associated with Taurus. Getting solid and really focusing on finding your place in the world, your place in society. You may be feeling like you're becoming a little bit more rigid or conservative when it comes to resources. And I really feel like this is about being able to take that money and focus on some of your long-term goals, right? Because that's really what the Hierophant can be. This can be a time when you're talking to a teacher, a mentor, an advisor of some sorts about money or resources or your philosophy as well. Good luck, Aries. We've got Taurus and Taurus rising. You will be experiencing the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in your sign. If it happens to be your birthday, chef's kiss, you're gonna have such a beautiful year ahead with that as a part of your solar return. Obviously, this is gonna be taking place in your first house if you're a Taurus rising, which is all about yourself, your freedom, and your identity. So the first house is the body. So something can be changing about the body. Something can be changing about also your appearance or how you carry yourself. The sun rules the home and family or ends of situations, and it also is coming into conjunction with Jupiter. So it does mean that there is an ending. You personally may be experiencing some kind of an ending, okay? It can be, okay, I'm, moving away from home, or I'm selling my house, or, I want to make some significant change to my appearance. It can mean that there is some kind of ending for you that is very emotionally charged because Jupiter's connection to your 8th house of transformation with the sun basically means that you're like, I'm having to give something up or I'm having to let something go. And it's going to, traumatically kind of change something about either my body or about my home. It can also mean that you're finally having a breakthrough and you're experiencing a lot of freedom, and it can feel a little uncomfortable because it might mean that you're like, you know what, I'm choosing myself, or I have to be the one to make the decision, or the decision is just on me. But I promise you that on the other side of this transit, you're going to find that whatever is kind of like coming up for you, whatever you're releasing or letting go of, you're going to recognize that it's about becoming more so in tune with yourself and like knowing what your own needs are. And it's about helping you go through some kind of significant transformation and realizing how strong you are. All right, let's take a look. The card that you get is the 7 of Wands, which means you're not backing down. You're not going to let anybody tell you what to do. Certainly this week, Taurus, you can be a little bit more feisty than usual because of that Uranus energy where it's like, okay, independence, kind of forging my own path. But this is about not getting knocked down. So whatever is happening right now, there is a sense of being able to kind of push through this and feeling very confident and capable of being able to kind of hold your own, right? And like not allowing other people to make you feel like you're weak or incapable. This is about, holding your own position. Okay, so good luck with that, my Tauruses. Let me know what's going on with you in your chart. I'd love to hear. We have got Gemini and Gemini rising. You guys are going to be doing the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in your 12th house. So this is kind of in the hidden part of your chart. It's in the 12th house, which is more subconscious. It's spiritual, behind the scenes. It's hidden. Obviously, this can be everything from just taking more downtime to relax and recuperate, to traveling, to healing. So any of these things can come up with the 6th house. For you guys, the Sun-Jupiter conjunction is really kind of tying together your 7th and 10th house lord with the Sun, which is your 3rd house lord, in the 12th. So it means there's something ending or completing or changing about the way that you think or see your career or your relationship. So it can mean that there's something kind of going on behind the scenes. You can feel more tapped in, intuitive, and psychic this week. It may represent a really significant breakthrough that you have spiritually, or some kind of insight that comes to you in a dream or through a reading, maybe that can be happening here as well. For those of you guys who are studying like something spiritual or something kind of like religious, this can be good. You know, traveling in foreign places can be really wonderful here as well. But it can, obviously, touch wood, be about conversations that you're having with a partner about something that needs to change. And it's something that's kind of like lurking in your subconscious, and you're like, I need to have this conversation with them, you know, or I need to send this email to somebody at work. That can be coming up for you as well. The card that I get is the 3 of Coins. All right. So the good news is that it's something you can work through. Like if there's something coming up where you're like afraid to have a conversation with somebody or talk to somebody about it, this can be about working together as a team. I love the 12th house for working with healers or like Reiki, you know, healers or psychics or even like therapists. And with Jupiter being in the 12th house and you getting the 3 of Coins, it could mean that it's like a team effort where you're working with like spiritual practitioners in your healthcare team to kind of figure out what's going on with a health matter. It can mean that you're working with a therapist and a partner to work through something, that there is some kind of like third party that can come in to help you work through it. Hope that's helpful, Gemini. Let me know how it goes. You've got Cancer and Cancer rising. You guys will be doing the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in the sign of Taurus in your 11th house. For you guys, the 11th house is all about networks, friends, parties, goals. What a great place to have this conjunction. I feel like it's going to be about lavishness and overindulgences with friends, fabulous parties, and some of your financial goals finally coming to fruition. I say that because the Sun rules your resources and Jupiter rules your 9th house of beliefs and your 6th house of work. So there can be a sense of traveling for work, making money through traveling, working with a group of friends, or having some kind of work opportunity come through. If you're looking to focus more on skill building or some kind of training or even finding a job, all of that can come through friends, or it can come through joining some kind of like affiliation or network. So if you're willing to kind of get out there and mix and mingle, you can find people who can really help you expand your health or your career. And also maybe make some more money. So keep your ear out if you have any friends that are talking about hearing about jobs being available or wanting to kind of help you when it comes to giving you some insight about your finances. The card that you get is the 2 of Coins. So it's about weighing your options. It's like, do I want this or do I not want this? And I have a feeling something about that might be connected to Mercury, where you're like, okay, do I want to make the jump in some way? You know, is it time for me to, you know, join this group? You may be really reevaluating whether or not it's worth investing into something. So like if you have to join a group but it costs money, you might be like, okay, well, do I spend the money on this? Do I not? And it looks like you're weighing your options. So before you accept any potential offers or before you make any investments, you're going to kind of feel like you have to kind of think it through a little bit. Which makes sense, but the truth is that things are really kind of gearing up for you when it comes to your professional life or your career. With that Mars North Node in the 10th house, you want to feel productive, you want to be out there, you want to be busy. So it looks like you're going to have to work with other people and find ways to be able to help that expand. Okay, don't be indecisive. Good luck. All right, we've got Leo and Leo rising. This is being interesting for you, Leo. How exciting. You've got the Sun-Jupiter conjunction taking place in your natal 10th house. Now for you, Leo, you're ruled by the Sun. So something's going on where you're having some kind of significant transformation, growth period, change, glow up. Something big is happening when it comes to your status in the world. Jupiter rules your 8th house of shared resources and money. So it can be about big investors at work. It can be about some kind of transformation at work, new status that's coming out where you were like, I was single, now I'm engaged. I was, unemployed, now I'm employed. I was an employee, now I own my own business. So this is a little bit of sweetness and growth when it comes to your public reputation and what you're doing professionally. I really like it for you. I feel like now is your time to shine. With all these planets that are meeting in your 10th house, you are in the spotlight. So really soak it up, really enjoy your moment in the sun, because this is about a big breakthrough and where you've been working hard all year to have major changes in your career. Now you're finally starting to kind of see and reap the rewards. The card that I get for you is the Two of Wands. So I feel like this is about you being like, okay, when do we make the launch? When is the best time? Like, and what's next? Where are we going? Two of Wands is about standing at the precipice of like making a decision about, do we go here or do we go there? And having options and having choices. And so I think a lot of that might also be Mercury coming into your 10th house, where there is going to be decisions made about the direction where you're going with your career, or there's going to be announcements that are going to be made, or there's going to be news that's going to be coming up. Some of you guys might get a promotion. Some of you guys may launch your own business. Some of you guys also who are creatives or in the artistic kind of realm are going to have really good, favorable, just like energies, because Jupiter is connected to your 5th house. This could also be about making big decisions relating to your status, like getting married, having kids, things like that. So you're at the precipice of making these decisions now. Good luck. We've got Virgo and Virgo rising. Virgo, you will be doing the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in the sign of Taurus in your natal 9th house. And if you happen to be a late degree Virgo rising, 28, 29 degrees, you will be receiving a trine. So it's really extra sweet for you as well if it's aspecting those degrees in your chart. The 9th house is all about beliefs, travel, education, things pertaining to mentors and teachers, higher education like university, or possibly even traveling. Now, Jupiter rules your 4th house of home and family, and your 7th house of partnerships. So it is possible that you are traveling, you are relocating to a place further away. Maybe you're going back home to visit family. Maybe you're meeting in-laws for the first time. Maybe you're going to be at an airport. This is a really good house to have Jupiter in, because Jupiter is traditionally associated with Sagittarius 9th house energies. So you can't really play this wrong. I do feel like for some of you guys, it might be about acceptance into a program or a graduation of sorts because of the conjunction with the Sun, which rules your 12th house. I love this for going on a foreign trip. I love this for taking up courses and classes on spirituality, meditation, or learning about places that you'd like to visit that you've never been before. There can be celebrations like ceremonies, graduations, weddings, things like that that are being planned throughout this particular conjunction in your 9th house as well. And I do feel like this is really bringing up your 12th house Lord, which can be about romantic opportunities. So if you're single and you're traveling, you're meeting people, pay attention, because you could meet somebody very significant while you are either traveling or doing some continuing education. The card that I get for you is the Fool card. I love this so much. This is about being like, you know what, I'm going to take a chance. Let's go. Let's just go explore. Let's see what happens. My advice for you, Virgo, is leave room for the universe to intervene, for there to be some like serendipitous situations. If you're going somewhere, don't overschedule yourself. Go out, explore, have a good time, be independent and give yourself some sort of freedom, because it really wants you to have the opportunity to do something different and kind of go your own way. And I think that's also playing off of the Uranus conjunctions that have been happening. Mercury will be there pretty soon. So if you're not already traveling, it looks like that might be on the horizon soon. Good luck. We've got Libra and Libra rising. Libra, you're going to be doing the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in your natal 8th house. So the 8th house is a house that is about transformation. It is about joint resources. It can be about taxes. It can be about investments, inheritance. This can also be about death endings as well, because the 8th house is kind of like a Scorpio house. But this can also be about psychological stuff that can be coming up for you, or things pertaining to sudden opportunities for healing. So this is going to be really interesting for both you and Taurus, because Venus is so infused with some of these transits, because the same day that the Sun and Jupiter is meeting in the 8th house, your chart ruler Venus is coming into conjunction with Uranus as well. So let's break this down. Sun conjunct Jupiter in the 8th. Sudden windfall, winning a lottery, getting an inheritance, your partner somehow, inherits a bunch of money or, has some kind of breakthrough. Maybe you get some kind of increased interest, on a savings account and you're like, oh, okay, this is nice. The sun represents the 11th house of goals and also friendships. And Jupiter is about the 3rd house of communication and learning. Unfortunately, the other side of this is you could get some news about the fact that, a friend has like unfriended you on a social media platform, or there is a break in a relationship or a friendship. It can mean that you get some news that, somebody has passed away, and you hear about it through a phone call or an email, or you see something online. I don't like saying that, but I'm just letting you know. The other thing that I could see this being is about some kind of increased money that's coming in through like an online website. Like if you have a YouTube channel, if you have a website, if you have an online business, you might notice a boost in sales that can be happening here as well. Now we've got Venus meeting with Uranus, which is you, right? Your Venus. Uranus is the 5th house. So this can also mean that there is some surprising news that's coming out that's basically about a friend sharing with you that they're pregnant, or you could find out that you're pregnant as a Libra or a Libra rising with Venus meeting with your 5th house Lord. It can be really sexy and intimate here as well, as the 8th house can be about coming together with another person, and it can be very sensual in the sign of Taurus. All right, so let's take a look. You get the Queen of Wands. So I think it's more about reinvention and creativity and inspiration than anything. And so this can be this time where you're feeling like you're having a sudden breakthrough and there's some major changes in terms of how you're looking at your resources or your security. This can be with the help of a fire sign. So if an Aries, a Leo, or a Sag show up, they're there to kind of help you through the process. I do think also this can be about you being more creative and being focused on what you're wanting to kind of bring to life, because Venus conjunct Uranus can be about actual projects and things that make you feel like alive again. So you can feel like you're being brought back to life basically through some exciting opportunities to either make money or be creative. Good luck, Libra. I hope it's an exciting one for you. We've got Scorpio and Scorpio rising. You guys will be doing the Sun conjunct Jupiter in your 7th house. So going to be really interesting here for my Scorpio and Scorpio risings, because this is taking place in your 7th house, your opposite sign. So whether you're single or you're in a relationship as a Scorpio rising, this is going to be an action-packed time. I want you to think, Scorpio, back to what has happened since spring of last year when Jupiter first entered into your 7th house. Some of you guys have met partners and now suddenly, relationships are getting more serious, and maybe you're talking about moving in together or getting married or having kids. Other people have realized that relationships aren't working and that there's something kind of bursting at the seams and something needs to change. New clients, potentially even a new astrologer, or maybe even a new therapist, or new services have kind of come into your life that you maybe offer if you have your own business. But there's been a lot of growth taking place in your relationship zone. If you haven't met anyone, okay, this can be a time I would really pay attention, especially because the day that Jupiter and the Sun come into conjunction, which is about basically your reputation, right? The Sun is the 10th house Lord, and Jupiter is about money and resources. You could bring in a lucrative client, you could bring in a wealthy partner, you could meet a really significant business partner. Venus is also very close to Uranus. So it can mean that there's somebody coming into your life that is going to totally revolutionize and change something about your status, your future, and your career, but also possibly even your home. Truth be told, relationships that have been already kind of on the rocks, this is where you really kind of start to see that full frontal, it will be something that feels very big. That's like, okay, this person needs space, or they need to kind of go away, or now they're really done. But it can also be a time where you're reinventing yourselves in relationships and finding new ways to relate to each other, and through a little bit of space and giving each other freedom to really honor who you are, the relationship can get stronger. In the background, when this is happening, Mars is conjuncting the North Node in the 6th, which is 12th house to your 7th, which means if there is a relationship issue going on, you may feel like, I want to fix it. How can I fix it? Let's make it better, in the 6th house. And with Venus conjunct Uranus and Jupiter in the 7th, your partner can be like, it's too little too late. This isn't working. I've
talk to you about this time and time again. I'm done. So I'm telling you this now, Scorpio rising, so you can be ready for this, because it can be a time where when you're really ready to be like, okay, let's make the change, other people can be like, I'm finished. And it can be hard to deal with the Sun-Jupiter conjunction. The positive, because there is positive here, is that you could meet someone, right? You could meet a future partner. You could bring in a new therapist. You could have a really amazing new client. There could be just overabundance of people who are coming in who are wanting to work with you. But you have to take all the little things into consideration. And one thing I will tell you is that this is big for your status and your reputation. So you could be meeting the right people to put you on the map, to have more visibility, but equally, it can be through some kind of growth or development of a situation with a partnership. It's also changing your status, and it could be about getting married or, you know, making a change in that. So it really depends. Good day for getting some exposure though, so be mindful of what you're doing out in the world, because you could meet the right person, or you could put something out that's being seen by a lot of people that has a lot of visibility, and that can be good for your career. You also get the Seven of Wands, so this is interesting. Somebody else got this card too. I see this as, I think Taurus got this, I see this as standing your ground. And so what does that say if you and Taurus both got the same card? That nobody wants to back down, right? Scorpio got it and Taurus got it. It's like both parties being like, no, I'm not gonna budge, you know? Watch out for that. Watch out for being so rigid that, you know, if nobody's willing to kind of keep an open mind, that there can be some real disturbances. But this is also about not getting knocked off, you know, your ground, not letting somebody one-up you, not letting somebody steal your thunder. With Sun and Jupiter in your 7th, I feel like it's a time where you could have some significant growth in your resources, and like you're really standing out and you're on top, and there's a lot of visibility and a lot of opportunity for you to have a lot of gains, right? Financial gains because of the conjunction to Jupiter. So the right person, the right opportunity may pop up that's really going to help you maintain that position and continue to be on top. Scorpio, I want to hear all about it. Let me know what's happening here. Oh my goodness, I know the craziness is with other people. All right, so we've got Sag and Sag rising. What's going on, Sag? This is a good transit for you because we're going to see the Sun-Jupiter conjunction, and you're ruled by Jupiter, taking place in Taurus in your natal 6th house. So for you, the 6th house is about health, habits, pets, and routine. Okay, so these are the themes here. You could be overwhelmed with just how much work you have, how much focus you have on your day-to-day routines, your schedule, your health, all of that stuff. But this is a good transit because the Sun rules the 9th house of travel and belief in philosophy. And obviously Jupiter rules you and your home. So this can mean that you're like, you know what? I work hard. I deserve to have a little bit of time. I deserve to get out there and explore a little bit, or travel a little bit, or have a little bit of fun. It can be a time where you have a breakthrough with work and your routine. You have an opportunity also to remedy a health matter. So you may actually find like a new health practitioner, a new dietary option, a new gym, and you can be working in a new location. A new job can come from this conjunction here as well. What else? And the other thing that I would say is this is about your philosophy about making time for rest and beauty, you know, a real part of your everyday life. You know, Taurus is about leisure. It's about taking your time, taking time to enjoy what you're doing, to have art, to have beauty, to have good food. So it may mean that you're like, you know what, I'm slowing down a little bit, and I've worked really hard, and I'm now taking the week off, and this is my plan. And realizing that that has a really positive impact on your health and the way that you kind of see the world. So it's about making time to really stop and smell the roses, enjoy all of the small things, all of the sweet things. Some of you guys may be traveling, you know, to go and check out a new college campus or a university. Some of you guys are going to be traveling for work. Some of you guys are taking new training courses, or you're teaching new courses or skills. Others might be getting or acquiring a new pet. That can be something that can be happening here as well in the 6th house. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see what the cards say for you, my Saggies. I get the 8 of Swords. Okay, that's a funky card. Well, the 6th house is about work, right? Hard work, dedication, sacrifice. And the conjunction might mean where you're like, okay, well, I feel like I'm stuck You know, I may be making time for these things, but I have like a lot of things that I have to be handling at work, or I have a lot of things that are kind of keeping me because of my health, or a lot of things that are preoccupying my time because of a pet or because of some kind of service. Here's the deal. This is a self-imposed situation. If you notice, even though she's blindfolded and kind of tied up, her hands are free, and the swords are all mental, so it's like surrounding her. So it's saying you're only limited by what you tell yourself you're limited by. Don't get too wrapped up in the I'm too busy, I can't make time, it's going to be too much work type of mentality. Try to see this as, you know what, this is a good thing. You know, these are good problems to have, and all I have to do is just kind of think my way out of the situation and make time for the things that I love the most. Good luck. We've got Capricorn and Capricorn rising. You guys are going to be doing the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in the sign of Taurus in your natal 5th house. If you are a late degree Capricorn rising, 27, 28 degrees, you will be having a trine, which is extra sweet for you. Well, what can I say about this conjunction in the 5th house? Amazing things, guys. First of all, the sun is really happy in the 5th house. And so with the sun being in the 5th house, it's shining a light on romance, creativity, children, self-employment, taking chances, having fun. This is also great for hobbies, and it's meeting with Jupiter. Jupiter rules your 3rd house of communication, learning, anything to do with writing or speaking. And it's also conjuncting your 12th house lord, which is about kind of spirituality and behind the scenes. What a wonderful time if you want to launch your own business, if you want to put out a new website, if you want to start a tarot business or like a metaphysical business, to do these types of things because of the conjunction between the 12th house lord and the sun in the 5th. But this is good for romance, for dating, for pregnancy, for gambling, for playing the lottery, because man, the sun rules your 8th house. So it's like, take chances in all of these things. Maybe you've been doing that all year long, and now you're like, I have all of these hobbies and other ways to make money. Maybe it's that you've been kind of, you know, living a much more heart-centered life, and, you know, you've seen a lot of kind of ups and downs with your creative life or your love life, and now you're like, okay, now I know what I want. This, I think, is probably one of my favorite houses to see this conjunction. And so I really encourage you to take risks because I think they're going to pay off. I especially am loving the fact that it's in, you know, the same element as you, Capricorn. So it's going to be really kind of playing off of, okay, how can we bring you something more solid? How can we bring you, you know, physical manifestations of things that you've been hoping to kind of create? And I could see for some of you guys that this could be falling in love, meeting someone, and also it could be pregnancy for Cap risings as well, or big news in regards to your children. It could be about them also. The card that I get is the Ace of Cups. I was waiting for it. I was like, I wonder if this card's going to come up. Falling in love with something or someone, an opportunity, a brand new beginning. You know, a conjunction is the strongest aspect in astrology. So it's kind of that fusion point where something is being seeded. So it's really living life, I think, in a much more heart-centered way. And it's only choosing the things that really make your heart sing, choosing things that make you feel like totally overjoyed. Cup runneth over, self-love, self-indulgent, creative, self-expressive. But opportunities for romance are definitely on the horizon here because this can be representing a new relationship coming in for you. Let me know, Capricorn. Oh my gosh, you've had some good readings lately. All right, so we have now got Aquarius and Aquarius rising. You guys are going to be doing the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in your natal 4th house. I'm excited to see how this plays out for you. Obviously, the 4th house is home, roots, family, and anything pertaining to, yeah, the past, maybe your home base, your lineage. It could be your family, your roommates, your own physical space. The sun rules relationships, okay? So other people. And the sun can be about men in the family. It can be male partnerships. It can be also about friends or like male lovers. It can also be about relationship that you have with your children. And the conjunction to Jupiter in the 4th house is basically saying you're investing on expanding your home right now. That's what's going on. Some of you guys are building homes. Some of you guys are relocating to new states. Some of you guys are building compounds or buying land with friends or moving in with family or renovating a family home. These are the kinds of things that are happening. And it looks like there's some good news coming to you from other people about what's going on with your home or living situation. Obviously, recently, you know, there's been some conjunctions to Uranus. So there's been a lot of changes going on in the home front. But when this conjunction happens, Venus is meeting your sign, okay, your ruling planet. And Venus is about, you know, relationships with people far away. It can be about in-laws. It can also be about family. So this tells me that the change that's coming is extra sweet for you guys. Like you're moving into a bigger house maybe, or there's some good news in the family. Somebody's getting married, somebody's having a baby, like something's happening. And I oftentimes see a Jupiter going through the 4th house transit of new beginnings when it comes to home and family. And pretty soon Jupiter is going into your 5th house. So for some of you guys, it's, well, we're expanding our home because we're having a kid, or my son's moving back in with us, or I'm relocating to a bigger house, or our renovations are finishing, like that kind of stuff. But oh my goodness, I think you and Capricorn, you Capricorn and Taurus are the ones that I'm most interested about. Ironically, right? You guys are all the earth signs. Yeah, I'm really curious to kind of see how that plays out. Or those 2 earth signs. You're an air sign. You get what I'm saying? It's in an earth house. Anyway, let's see what the cards say for you about what's going on with this extra sweet conjunction in your 4th house. King of Cups, I love it. Emotionally overjoyed, cup runneth over, being very proud, very committed, very much in love or in charge of things that are going on, making decisions about what's best for your home or family because you care. Older men also, like husbands, fathers, brothers, stuff like that. Look for water signs, so it can be a Cancer, Scorpio, or a Pisces. Or just feeling more emotionally connected to your home and more sentimental and making decisions that are going to be more heart-based or what's best for the relationships in your life. Love it. And finally, we have our Pisces and Pisces risings. What's up, guys? You're going to be seeing the Sun-Jupiter conjunction taking place for you in your natal 3rd house. Now, this is sweet for you, Pisces, because Jupiter is your traditional ruler. So having the Sun meet Jupiter basically means that something is being brought to you. The 3rd house is about learning, traveling, vehicles, communication. It can be things like websites that are being launched, new languages that you're learning, short distance trips, or new vehicles. You guys have heard me affectionately refer to this as the junk drawer in astrology, but Taurus is about having something solid. So I think this can mean that you're like, I am buying a car. I am getting a new cell phone. I'm getting a new computer, because the 3rd house can be communication and gadgets. Physical things is Taurus. Now the Sun rules your 6th house of daily routine and habits, and Jupiter rules you, and it also rules your career. So it's possible that you're like, I'm launching a new website for my business, or I am now having to go and get a new laptop for, you know, my work, or I'm having to, you know, focus on something new that I'm learning in order to expand my business. You could be issued a contract for work, which could be great. You could get an email or have some kind of phone call where you get some good news about getting a job, or, you know, having some kind of positive, you know, thing happening at work. But this could also be a time where there is a lot of togetherness with neighbors, with siblings. You may also be planning a move, because the 3rd house is about movement. But whatever is coming in for you, I think this is about kind of communicating and speaking more enthusiastically. I really feel like you're one of the signs that I would say be mindful of what you're saying, thinking, and writing, because you can manifest things very easily here. And when this conjunction happens, Venus is also meeting with Uranus. So it does make me feel like there is some unexpected kind of plot twist when it comes to either traveling or something when it comes to do with like relocating that kind of comes out of left field. But you have the necessary support that comes in. Like, let's say you're moving and like there are some kind of delays with like the moving truck or something. The Sun Jupiter means that, you know, you may have a sibling that's like, I'll come help you move, you know, or you have a neighbor that's like, I'll help you get that bookshelf out of your apartment. You'll have some support that you didn't see coming, because there may be some changes that are going on with your schedule, or somebody who can assist you. You just have to communicate, you have to speak up, and you have to ask for it. And make some positive announcements about work and reputation here as well. If you need to launch a business or if you need to put something out into the world, this conjunction may be the time where you're getting ready to share this with the world. The card that I get is the Ace of Swords. Perfect card for the 3rd house where you're like, I have something to say. You get your megaphone out, you know, you're telling everybody what's up. Contracts, negotiations, meetings, significant conversations or phone calls. This is the Ace of Swords. So some kind of news or information is being brought to you and you're like, oh my gosh, this is even better than I thought. Or maybe you get a job offer and it's like, you know, they're offering you way more money than you thought that you were going to be getting for the position, for the salary. Speak up, share, speak your mind, ask questions, and be willing to make big announcements with this conjunction. I hope that's helpful for you guys. I'm wishing everybody an extremely positive week. I know there can be some turbulent things going on in the midst of this, but trust me, trust me, trust me. Look at things as, like I said, silver lining. If something's ending, it's because something positive is coming in. We just can't quite see it yet. But don't forget to let me know. Leave me your comments below. I'd love to hear how this is manifesting for you guys. And what do you think about some of these conjunctions? What has Jupiter and Taurus done for you or taught you in this last year? And how do you anticipate this conjunction is going to play out? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You guys can catch me here on Friday. We're going to be doing live astrology readings, 5 o'clock p.m., 8 p.m. 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. on Eastern time. Check the link in my community tab. You guys will be able to sign up early if you have any questions. And we'll be basically, answering all kinds of astrology questions about your natal chart or about what's going on currently in the skies. Check out my website below at beyondtheveiltarot.com. There you can see some of my personal astrology calendars, both physical and digital. You can also see my candles that I make for Mercury retrograde and all of these other times where it can be helpful to have some kind of metaphysical assistance, and also book a personal reading with me. My books are now open in August of 2024. All right, that's enough from me. I'll catch you guys all back here on Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care.